Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we're doing 1989's The Karate Kid, Part 3.
It's hard to believe they made 3 of these because when it was starting, my first reaction immediately was, you just fought for your life in a foreign country. Where do you have to go from here?
So a couple of thoughts on my initial watch of this film. And again, after I think I saw this in 89 or 90, I probably didn't see this again until like last night.
Yeah, rightfully so.
So I remembered a few things, but dude, I'm just gonna say this. Watching this movie and the previous two, this whole like Daniel LaRusso trilogy of Karate Kid movies, should have been just named The Karate Kid. Daniel, why don't you just sleep on it? Like this kid jumps into every decision blindly, never gives anything a second thought, and he's just 110 miles an hour into a brick wall in every movie. And this one is like the culmination of all of that.
Oh, yeah. And then in 2015, he changed his name to Corey Lewandowski and ran a successful presidential campaign.
And I'm also pretty sure that the casting director for all 3 films, it had to have been the same person, but the casting director had to just go, you know what? For one of the bad guys. Doesn't have to be the main one, but if it's the main one, bonus. They have to have an absolutely ridiculous laugh.
Get him a body bag! Yeah! All right. Hey, do it again, Johnny. 20. Oh, I like that, Johnny! I'm gonna use it!
We have said in the past, drinking milk as a bad guy at the meeting or the sit down is scary as shit.
Yes.
The ominous laugh thing, unless you're the Joker, cut it.
Yeah, no, you got to get rid of that. You got to get rid of that.
You just kind of look like a fucking idiot, especially when you're sitting on the floor with paint covering you.
Before we get into all of this, let's get into the cast of this film. This movie, The Karate Kid Part 3, stars Ralph Macchio as Daniel LaRusso, Pat Morita as Mr. Miyagi, Robin Lively as Jessica Andrews, Thomas Ian Griffith as Terry Silver, Martin Kove as John Kreese, and Sean Kanan as Mike Barnes.
Dude, do you know what came to my mind the second I remembered that Robin Lively was in this?
What's that?
Supersonic, idiotic, disconnected, not respected. Who would ever really want to go and top that?
Supersonic, idiotic, disconnected, not respected. Who would ever really want to go and top that?
Woo! If you want the whole thing done, you're going to have to pay a lot of money and request Teen Witch.
Yes.
That's the only way that's going down.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into this movie because you brought it up before we got into the cast. Daniel and Mr. Miyagi are coming back from Okinawa after Daniel just has the fight of his life and, you know, he's going to die. But the beginning of this movie, it just opens with montages from the first film. And it goes into John Kreese down on his luck, and he's lost everything after Johnny Lawrence, you know, gets defeated in the tournament, no students, and loses all of his money, and everybody leaves Cobra Kai.
And here's a tip for you. He didn't lose everything because he lost the tournament. He lost everything because he tried assaulting teenage kids.
Yes. Well, yes.
And then a senior citizen. Like, that's
just
why
telling
your world crumbled.
I'm just telling you what was in his mind. He was like, goddamn Johnny Lawrence. If it wasn't for that little blonde prick, I would still have all my money and all my money. I mean, I don't know any rich like karate masters that like own a dojo, but no. He could have still had a successful business if, you know, the blonde douchebag, you know, would have just like sweep the leg. But he's down on his luck. and he goes to see an old army buddy, Terry Silver, who apparently is uber rich and built himself like a temple that he lives in.
By dumping toxic waste.
He's apparently rich because he just dumps sludge for big corporations. Like that's a great business model.
Look at this. 10 years ago, nuclear was the preferred waste. You could dump it anywhere. Now everybody's a detective.
The efforts to make this guy the worst human being on the planet. I swear to God, dude, he should have just kicked a fucking baby out the window or some shit. It would have been far more effective than having to constantly remind us. Like, dude, this motherfucker is sitting in a Scarface bathtub telling an entire South American made-up country to go fuck themselves because he's dumping termitolite or whatever the shit in their country.
What do you mean you can't dump it in Borneo? Who in Borneo knows what chloride sludge is? Just do it.
This is just the tip of the iceberg. We'll get into how ridiculous this writing is. But Kreese gives him the sob story here that I lost everything and yada yada, and here are the keys to the dojo. So Terry just decides to send Kreese on like an all expenses paid vacation to Tahiti so that he can make Daniel and Mr. Miyagi pay for beating Johnny Lawrence and putting Kreese in such a like bad situation.
Yeah.
This is
Much later.
What the hell is this plot? This is the most absurd revenge plot I've ever heard of.
Here's the funniest thing is like we cut back and we see Daniel and Mr. Miyagi getting back from Okinawa. And Daniel's apartment building is like being torn down. His mom's nowhere to be found because she's in Jersey taking care of Uncle Louie, who's like dying, and he's got the giant fucking Scrooge McDuck bell that he's ringing. And she's like right in front of, like, I don't get that whole thing, but whatever. No. And so his mom bounces to take care of his uncle in New Jersey.
Was it Jersey? Because I kept
think
thinking
so.
I heard him say Fresno over and over again. There was some plot line about Fresno, and I don't know what it was, but
it could have been Fresno. But he stays with Miyagi because Miyagi, remember, in the second movie was building that spare room for him.
Yep. And so, is this where, or was this before, they give the one mention of the trip to Okinawa where it's like, yo, did your girlfriend come home with you? Nah,
yes.
She dumped me too.
Yep.
And then that's it. Which, Daniel, bro, thank God this relationship is platonic because you cannot hold a woman.
Exactly.
And you know why? It's because you're a selfish, reactionary fucking dick.
Daniel wants to fight in the tournament because he brings the piece of paper to Miyagi like, hey, I can defend my title. And they just changed the rules, so I don't have to fight at all. I just need to fight in the finals. It's one fight. I want to defend my title. Miyagi's like, dude, that's dumb. Shove it up your ass. We're not doing this.
And what Miyagi really should have said here, or I think what he was trying to say, but because Daniel's such a fucking idiot, you have to really just tell him straight up what it is. No classy metaphor and wisdom and a riddle and shit like that. So what Miyagi should have said was, you just fought for your life in Okinawa and won. What the fuck do you want a trophy for? What is a tournament gonna? You literally were about to die.
Yes. Well, you have nothing to prove to anybody.
No.
So Daniel's like, yeah. And then Daniel gets to the point where he's like, yeah, you know what? I don't want to fight. You're right. I'll listen to you. I don't have to fight. So now you have Mr. Miyagi and Daniel who don't want to fight, but then now you have, going back to Terry Silver, your John Kreese and your problems are over. They're not fighting. Daniel takes his college fund again and then buys this bonsai store with Mr. Miyagi, or for Mr. Miyagi, and like they're out of your life. Like, end of movie.
You were right.
Let's start with the original here. Terry Silver's massive revenge plot. Again,
Yes.
like you said, it's over. The point was to embarrass them and get your karate thing back.
Yes.
They won and left. The marketplace is yours.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know you. I know you don't have to maybe be the smartest, most strategic businessman in the world to dump toxic sludge in places, but it doesn't take a fucking master of business to actually come in and figure out that you've won. You're opening
Yes.
20 new Cobra Kai dojos around the valley. Problem fucking solved.
Exactly.
Why are we
Exactly.
even talking about this anymore? But
Yeah.
no, you have to employ Flat Top and Snake and Greaser or whatever the fuck his name is. And
Oh, I have my nicknames for them. So
Jesus Christ.
we'll get to these guys here in a second.
like I agree with you on that front though, that your problems are solved.
Yes.
And as far as like the whole, I'm taking this money and I'm reinvesting in you because you've invested in me, and I'm opening this bond shop for you because I know myself in college is a waste of my time. One, great.
That was the one. Yep.
It all starts off like, yo, you did learn something. You
Yeah.
finally got it. You are not a selfish prick. This guy's down on his luck. He helped you. You're helping him. That's what a man does.
Yes.
Awesome.
And you have some sort of self-realization that, like, listen, college ain't for me, which it's not for everybody. So you're like, okay, Daniel's on the right track here. Where he kind of veers off the tracks is he goes into the Century 21 real estate office and gets this lease for this rundown place in like the bad part of town immediately. Like, ooh, that I can afford that. Like, no, like, dude, you rushed into it again. Just sleep on it, dude.
Yeah, well,
Like,
you rushed into it, and again, your motives aren't pure. You really don't know yourself. Because he says later why he bought this business. And it really had nothing to do with just trying to help Mr. Miyagi. Everything is about Daniel at the end of the day. Every action, every move Daniel makes is about him.
We're on the ground floor over here.
can we just say this? Daniel's just not good with money. And we'll just, I think we could just strike that up.
He's not good with life.
No.
Let's just put that. If Mr. Miyagi is not in his life right now, this kid is selling oranges by the freeway or is in fucking jail.
Yes. We get to the inner workings of Terry Silver's, convoluted plan to get Daniel to not only fight in the tournament against someone he's handpicked, who is the bad boy of karate, Mike Barnes, but
He's on Tiger Beat or some shit.
also he's going to train Daniel and punish him in said training. I will say that if you've started to watch Cobra Kai season 4, which I'm already in the middle of, there is some explanation as to what the fuck is wrong with Terry Silver in this movie.
Is it inhaling toxic sludge fumes? Because that certainly seems like what it might be.
It's close.
I was so hopped up on cocaine, revenge.
Terry Silver is about 2 rats away from being Ives Perret.
He's 1 rat away. Let's just be honest. But this explains a lot. And again, if you're watching I think it's season 4, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, if you're watching the current season of The Karate Kid, the coke problem does explain a lot, because this convoluted plan to not only get Daniel to fight, to get Daniel to train with him so that he can abuse him and then fight the bad boy of karate. This is a cocaine plan, period.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
This was a cocaine plan. The second your boy comes to you and says, I'm done, fucking done with life, I quit, you're going, fuck that, you're going to Tahiti. I'm greasing your dick. Jesus Christ, guys. Let's just start with maybe giving me a bump too. And then we'll come up with our plan.
Terry then here strikes a deal with Mike Barnes and gives him 50% of the Cobra Kai dojos. Is that the deal they come up with? He should have just paid him $50,000. We've already established that that's a decent amount of money in past movies. Like,
no shit. And how is Mike Barnes and Daniel LaRusso competing in the same tournament?
Mike Barnes is like 28.
Dude, that looks like me fighting Conor McGregor, bitch. Like, are you out of your fucking... He would kill me.
Exactly. So, anyway, Terry's henchmen, Not So Slim Shady and his crew, start fucking with Daniel to get him to sign the form for the tournament. They trash Miyagi's bonsai store here. And here's a don't do that for the broke-ass turtle from Entourage. Hi, broke-ass turtles from Entourage. Don't wear a gold chain on the outside of your shirt. That's just not a good look. Like, even for the 80s, it's just not a good look. Whenever I see some dude with a gold chain, I'm like, oh, he's poor. Like, you're outwardly showing that, like, I have enough money to buy said gold chain.
Yeah, you're trying very hard. And by the way, if you really are going around with the reputation of I'm the bad boy of LA, bitch, look at yourself. You're gonna get that chain snatched in LA real fast. The guy that doesn't talk either. And I'm gonna go ahead and just say, hi, henchman, Uncle Corey here. Either talk or fucking don't. Because this guy pops in and out to say a couple words here or there and try and be. If you're the scary henchman of the group, just be the scary henchman and don't fucking say a word. If Snake here is the spokesman for the Little Rascals, then let him fucking talk. Everybody in here is trying to get words in. And it's like you're not battling B-Rabbit. It's Daniel LaRusso. He's not a wordsmith. He's not going to hit you with any kind of sick burn that is going to require everybody to chime in. He's basically an idiot.
Yeah.
So you don't need I'm so sick of I'm the tough henchman. And then all of a sudden it's like their turn to talk. I'm like, hey man, I'm going to mess you up.
Yeah. Well, A, they can't talk, and B, they can't fight. But C, and again, going back to, Daniel isn't B-Rabbit here. Daniel, at one point in this movie, and I forget where it is, and I wanted to write it down, totally forgot. And I think it's kind of towards the end where they're having, it's the big reveal, and they're having, a jab with words. And Daniel says something like, no, you are.
You won't even be a memory!
Yes, he will. You won't.
Sick burn, Daniel.
Yep. He really went with the I'm rubber, you're glue defense. And that does not play well in grown-up situations.
No, it doesn't. Daniel then here meets and has this short fling platonic relationship with Jessica from the shop across the street because of stuff and things. The only reason Jessica is written into this movie is for two reasons. Daniel has to have some sort of love interest. Mm-hmm. So there's one. But two, is she really written into the movie so she could be the mountain climber chick that helps him get the butt? That's the only reason you wrote her into this movie?
Well, and let's classify this with mountain climber.
Yeah. Because she's
California
terrible.
Is not known for their mountains. They're known for the hills. And she's never climbed a mountain or climbed down a mountain that high before.
Yeah. I mean, she is from Columbus, Ohio. There's many hills. There's many hills that she's climbed down. So.
Yeah, I think in Ohio they even call the hills mounds there. It doesn't even qualify still.
You're right again.
It really didn't feel like she even had lines written, and they just told her to say whatever.
Well, you're
so
right, because
weird.
When they first meet, she's immediately like, hey, do you want to come to my place? I don't even know you. You could be a psycho killer, but you seem nice enough. and let's come to my place. And then he goes to her place, and then she's like, oh, I have a boyfriend. He's like, oh, the guy whose face is ripped off in the one picture. She's like, yeah, but we've been talking and we're back. I was just like, dude, what? The writers were on cocaine throughout this. Like,
oh, 100%. Because if you let's break it down again, because this is what we like to do on this show.
Yeah.
Bitch, you invited a homeless man that you just met to your apartment for a date and then told him at the last minute, sorry, I came on super strong. I got a boyfriend, though.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I also have no friends. This is why. You keep inviting men out for dates and then are like, hey, can we just be friends? No, I thought we were going on a fucking date.
But afterwards, Mike Barnes, broke-ass turtle from Entourage, and his chubby sidekick, Italian guy, steal all of Miyagi's bonsai trees. Daniel then decides he's going to go down into this cavern where Miyagi planted this rare bonsai tree. It's the only one in existence in the United States. And he's going to steal it to then sell it to keep the bonsai store going because they have no plants.
Yeah, I'll get to what you just said real quick with the whole deciding word again, because you're just throwing words around willy-nilly, and I don't appreciate it.
That's what I do.
However, we're going to start here. Daniel just went. There was no time to think about this plan at all. He just fucking went. Gas pedal fucking floored.
Yes.
And again, I can't stress this enough. It's a really bad idea to make emotional decisions. We've covered that ad nauseum on this fucking show. If you are in an emotional state, don't make any kind of decision right away. Take a minute.
Absolutely.
And I got to drop this PSA in. Hi, business owners. Uncle Corey here. If you are going to start a business and your first business decision is to hire, I guess not even hire, to have your business partner be a 21-year-old high school kid who already said he has no desire to go to college because he might get burnt out too quick, your business is going to fucking fail. Bad decision.
First of all, if he's a 21-year-old high school kid, he's half a fucking moron. Daniel is what, 19 here, 18, 19?
Something like that.
So, but regardless, take it from a business owner as well. You don't just need rent.
No.
There's lights and product, and there's all kinds of money that goes into, especially this piece of shit that they leased out. It's renovations and all of that.
Yeah.
And you also probably need about 6 months to a year's worth of backup money in case things don't go well. So that if, the fat boys come in and steal all your goddamn plants, you have extra money to go buy more plants.
And your business partner's decision here, because he doesn't understand revenue, is to steal the fucking tree you brought all the way over from the only emotional connection you have left to Okinawa. That you took such great lengths to plant in a specific spot. It gets the morning sun. You get to go out and see it. It reminds you of Okinawa. It's on this beautiful fucking bluff with the fucking tide coming into this cavern. It's amazing. And your business partner's plan to get you out of Hawk after one hiccup, which is just they destroyed junk.
Yes.
Is to steal that tree and sell it. Hi, kids. Uncle Corey here. If you are making a decision that affects you and someone else, specifically a business partner, because now money's involved,
yes,
and you don't ask for their input on the decision you're about to make, it's the wrong decision.
Yes.
If you can't tell the person that you are a partner with in anything, the thing you're about to do, because of course they'll be okay with it. It's the wrong decision.
Yeah.
Do not do that thing.
And they literally, him and Miyagi have this conversation, and Miyagi tells him, like, oh, it's expensive and it's worth, tens of thousands of dollars and yada yada. And I brought it from Okinawa, and I put it where I put it so that nobody can get to it, nobody can touch it, and find it and whatever. Daniel takes this information that's shared by a friend, a father figure, and now a business partner. He takes that information, uses it for his own gain, and he's like, shit, we don't have any money. And then he goes and steals the tree. They run into all the problems. Jessica obviously isn't an experienced mountain climber, as she says, because they're falling all over the place, all over themselves trying to get this tree. While getting said tree, Mike Barnes, Heavy D, and the Italian guy, they show up. They almost kill Daniel and Jessica. They steal the ropes, and you need to sign the thing, and then we'll throw down the ropes. Daniel signs it. They throw down the ropes. And then they threaten to rape Jessica at this point. And they break the bonsai tree, and Daniel signs the form, and like everything's on for the fucking tournament. Like this, going back to the writing, this is so ridiculous. Like,
oh, and it's not like, again, if you're a henchman, think your plan out. Daniel, sign this or we're going to kill you. Because if you don't fight, I don't get any money. Well, if you kill me, fuckface, I can't fight.
Yes,
and
exactly.
You still get no money. So, I guess you better pull the fucking rope up, huh? Stupid.
Exactly.
You fucking idiot. But Daniel, because he's an emotional disaster, as you brought up at the beginning,
yes,
just immediately goes, hey, you want me to sign it? I'll fucking sign it.
There you go. No, let me up. No, let me up. Miyagi here still won't train Daniel. So Daniel goes to Terry Silver, who finds a way in every scene to sneak around the corner and laugh at his dastardly plan while he, at the same time, is abusing Danny. It's like, here, punch this thing until you break your foot in half and your knuckles are bleeding. And then I'm going to go behind the wall and go, oh, my dastardly plan is coming to fruition.
Terry Silver's the kind of guy that would remove one of his ribs to suck his own dick.
Dude, he would dip around the corner. If there was laundry room steam, he is Ives Perret. Like,
oh yeah.
He sneaks behind like the little wall while he's, abusing Daniel. And he's like, oh God, this plan is so great.
Dude, this motherfucker pulls his own ponytail during sex.
So finally, everything comes to a head when Daniel, who realizes that his life is out of control, goes to the Cobra Kai dojo to tell Terry that he's not going to fight at the tournament. That's when Mike Barnes and John Kreese come out of the shadows to beat on Daniel and laugh at him. Yes, we have a question up front.
Thank you, sir. Corey Idle, Kiss the Reviews. Was John Kreese hiding behind that cutout the entire fucking time? Just hoping and praying that Daniel came into that office?
He was the cutout. He was. They actually removed the cutout, and it was just him, like. And by the way, I have a problem. I got a problem with John Kreese constantly holding his gi like this. I don't know why, but it's an issue. It's either here or his hands are in his belt. I'm like, bro.
He's Ricky Bobby. He didn't know what to do with his hands.
You want to see some more? I want to see a lot more.
This is so insane.
Yeah.
Like, Terry Silver paid for him to get lessons from Second City improv class for him to be able to mime being a cardboard cutout.
Well,
and just wait the entire time. The discipline that it took to wait there, hoping and praying that Daniel LaRusso showed up that night.
He had mime makeup on. He was like...
And then they make fun of Daniel for running out of the thing like he pissed himself.
Yeah,
dude,
it's 3-on-1.
Just jumped out of this fucking corner.
Dude, and he came out, Terry gave him some coke too, because John Kreese came out like, lah!
He's doing the goddamn Maori war dance from Hobbs and Shaw.
Miyagi shows up here after Daniel runs out. He beats the shit out of everyone. And then he makes fun of Terry Silver for being uber racist during their fight with the whole wah, like that whole thing. Like, I don't know if he's doing that because those are the noises that he makes, or if he's like, I'm super racist. Like, I didn't know what the deal was.
Yeah, dude, that so reminded me of X-Pac back in the WWE days when he was with DX, because he was a racist ass motherfucker doing that shit too.
Yeah,
and yeah, I don't get any of this. Like, the bad boy of karate just got fucked up. John Kreese, who you continually call the best karate man you've ever known, just got his ass whooped. And you're like, let's see how good you really are. Do you have a friend? And by the way, if you and your boy are about to fight somebody, like you've been dying to get your hands on this motherfucker physically, you know what I'm saying? And you're just going to mess him up, and it's the two of you against one of them. Fucking go at the same time.
Yeah.
No, he's mine first. He beat you up with cars and didn't lift a finger the last time you fucked with him. What are you talking about? And this is a PSA, racists. If you're going to do racisms on people, learn more than one racism, because that's all they do is call him by one racist name
multiple times.
The entire trilogy.
Yes.
Anytime somebody has a racist a slang attack at Mr. Miyagi, it is one thing and one thing only. And it's like, my God.
Miyagi here finally decides to train Daniel for this tournament, and we get the montage of Daniel doing his kata training and Mike Barnes training like he's Clubber Lang in Rocky 3. Like, they got boxing gloves on him, and he's hitting the heavy bag, and it's like, bro.
Dude, I had Rocky 2 visions in my head. Like, all you needed was Adrian going, just win.
Win.
Question. Stupid idea on my part, but I have to ask this question. Terry Silver's great coked out plan involves hardening Daniel LaRusso into a man that can now destroy 2x4s with his feet, elbow, and fist. Not a great plan. I don't want to make my opponent better.
Well,
it just sounds stupid.
Listen, we get to the tournament here, and let's face facts. He made him worse. Because we get to the tournament, Mike Barnes, as predicted, gets to the finals to face Daniel, who doesn't have to fight anyone here. And they start to fight. And by the way, John Kreese shows up as well, along with Terry Silver, who shows up with an ascot. Why? Because he's rich from sludge dumping? He looked like a villain from Scooby-Doo. Like, what the fuck? An ascot? That was your costume choice.
You know, you know what the real lesson of this movie is? Make money any way you possibly can. And no matter what it is, as long as you got enough of it and you're willing to share a little bit of it, you can do pretty much anything you want and people will love you for it.
Amen, sir. Amen.
America.
So in the finals, Daniel here does not throw a punch or kick or even defend himself as Mike Barnes kicks the shit out of him and keeps getting penalty points, so it's 0-0, so they go to sudden death.
And
this is Terry Silver's second half to his master fucking plan that keep getting get a point, penalty point, get a point, penalty point. All you're doing, this goes back to he's mine. Let me fight him, and let's not all jump him, okay? When you're in the thing, just beat his ass hard and just win. And then that's it. But no, instead you go point, penalty point, point. And the referee, I want to say 3 times during this fucking thing goes, one more time, and you're disqualified. And he's like, cool, I got it. And then does it again. He's like, hey, seriously though, one more time, and you're disqualified.
And what kind of fakakta fucking tournament are we running here too? When Barnes fucking hauls off and cold cocks Daniel with a fucking haymaker right to the face.
Yes.
In between the like they're not fighting at this point. They're
Yes.
in between points, competition stopped. And he's
Yeah.
just like, oh, look, a bird. Whack! And dude, the ref's like, hey, buddy, no more of that. No more of that. Point.
We will have no more of that malarkey one more time and you're disqualified. I know I've said it 6 times.
I know it's a karate tournament, but yo.
We get into sudden death. Daniel starts doing kata here, and Mike Barnes apparently has never seen anything like this in his entire life, and he is completely befuddled.
Yeah.
So much so that he literally does nothing as Daniel warms up with his kata bullshit and then takes him down, gets the point to win the All Valley tournament.
Mike Barnes is more scared of a kata than Daniel was seeing John Kreese, whom he thought was dead, pop out from behind a fucking cardboard thing and scare the shit out of him. Mike Barnes was terrified of this kata.
Like,
I mean, he's looking around. He's never seen it, never done. I took karate for about 3 months before I realized that these limbs don't do those moves. And literally the first thing you do, it's not like walking in like, oh, let me see your tiger style. No, it's not the Wu-Tang album. What they fucking do is make you do katas because they are stretching and breathing exercises.
Yes, but
that is all you do for at least the first 2 weeks you go there. So
Mike Barnes looks around like Daniel whipped his cock and balls out and was just like, hey, and he was like, whoa, what's this? What's going on here? Like, does everybody else see what's going on? And I'm so frustrated with the writing in this movie at this point that I start yelling at the TV audibly. And I'm like, just fucking punch him. Just kick him. He's fucking here doing this shit. Just fucking hit him.
Well, even Terry Silver, coked out of his fucking Gordon and Ascot, is able to say, yo, get the point!
Get the point! Get the point!
Until Daniel is set and then ready to fight, which, okay, fine. Let the guy go through all his fucking motions and vogue and all the shit he wants to do. I don't have to attack until he's ready to fight.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden, that fucking pose is able to get... man.
Just the whole thing is just
had
awful.
So much more respect for this movie if Daniel just would have lost. Rosie Perez says it at the end of White Men Can't Jump, and in the middle of White Men Can't Jump, and at the beginning of White Men Can't Jump. Sometimes when you lose, you win. And Daniel could have found a lot of that winning inside of his loss here.
Yeah.
He could have become a better man because he's still a square little fucking cunt this whole movie. And if he just would have lost, he could have became a better man maybe.
It's fine because it was still the 80s and the, good guy, white hat, he's got to win. Cool. You can write it like that, but like you can even have it where, Daniel says, no, I don't want to fight in this stupid tournament. Like I have real world experience. I just fought for my life. They keep fucking with him. And then him and Miyagi both kick the shit out of everybody. End of movie. Like right. you could have that too. Just the whole tournament was just fuck. Just get out of my face with that. And then at the end, Daniel celebrates with Miyagi and they hug it out because, they're friends for life. And that's the end of the movie. I did like Ralph Macchio's acting in this. I think he was a lot better than the previous two, but I think I texted this to you. The writing of this is so bad that it made the first two look like Gone with the Wind. Like it made it look like one of the best movies ever written back to back.
Yeah, there are tons and tons of problems with this movie. Here's I think where I can break it down to why this movie was such an epic failure was the scene when Mike Barnes and Daniel first face off. And Mike's holding Daniel by the collar of a shirt and Daniel's punching him twice in the face.
Yes.
And Barnes says, don't do that. You can't beat that. I don't give a fuck how centered you are and where your discipline and your chi is at and how great your Lamaze breathing is going. You're not beating that guy. As
Dude,
far
that's
as you
why-
are concerned, that guy is the fucking Terminator.
That's why
You're
you
not
have,
winning.
dude, even in like professional sports, boxing and MM, you have weight classes
Exactly.
for this particular reason. Daniel is about 92 pounds in this film as a 19-year-old man. And Mike Barnes is like a grown man. Motherfucker, you're 30. And you probably outweigh him by a good 35 pounds. I mean, maybe even 50. But somehow they're fighting in the same tournament. Cool, whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, in the beginning of this movie and when they're fucking with him, like Daniel A can't land a punch.
No.
Can't defend himself. We get to the tournament, he can't defend himself. And then all of a sudden he gets leg sweep, front leg, blah, 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 point. Like, it's less believable than Daniel beating Chosen in Okinawa in part 2. Because Chosen was 35. And
at least when you're fighting for your life, you have to you can kick it into another fucking notch.
Yes,
you
exactly.
can put it into a different gear, and you realize it's different.
Yeah,
this it's just
now from the writing to everything else, it was just the plan. We've said it before. I've said it before. Like, dude, just put some thought into it. This just seemed like a money grab. We were able to get Pat Morita, Ralph Macchio back. We were able to get Martin Kove back. Like, we can reprise some of these roles. And yeah, I mean, we could bring this person in and this person in, and we can kind of make some sort of story. But we know part 3 is going to make, X amount of dollars in the fucking, like, and this is what I don't like about Hollywood. It's like, okay, I get 1 and 2. 3 didn't need to exist.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, didn't need to exist. And I really thought the only thing that came out of this movie was how badly Daniel treats Miyagi.
Really?
And it was like, why the fuck are you doing this? That's the only thing that kept staying in my mind.
Taken from somebody who has immigrant parents that they impart their old world wisdom on you as you grow up and yada yada. If they had a white kid that just showed up and they were trying to like impart their wisdom and he shit on them as much as Daniel shits on Miyagi, they'd be like, "The fuck out of here, you dumb American! Like, what are you doing? Like, you obviously you don't respect me. You don't respect my things. You barely respect yourself."
This man,
he makes Miyagi cry in this movie.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. His man gave you everything, taught you everything about being a human being, a man. Your fucking mother abandoned you for some fake ass uncle. That wasn't a fucking real uncle. That was some dude. Your uncle died 6 weeks ago. She hired a fucking actor just to play on the phone.
She hired a stand-in.
Nobody wants you. You can't hold a girlfriend. You had a girl ready to immigrate from Okinawa, where they had to rebuild a fucking barn like they're Amish, to America. And she was like, "No, I'm good, cuz I don't want to put up with your ass for fucking however long it takes.
I found a dance job."
Yeah, get the fuck out, because nobody dances in LA, tell you that.
She thought they were going to Pittsburgh. But yeah, I mean, other than that, man, this movie does not hold. This movie's terrible. And again, I don't use the word terrible like very frequently. We make fun of movies that still hold up, but this movie is awful.
It's awful. It all is 100% due to the writing. Terry Silver is a fantastic 80s bad guy.
Oh, 100%.
He's a great 80s bad guy. And if this were geared a little bit more toward adults, 100% you would have seen him busting out the fucking sniffer too.
Absolutely.
100%. Probably why he was banging a hoe.
Hell yes.
One, I'm glad we watched it for the show.
Yes.
because I am about to get into the new season of Cobra Kai, and I really wanted to catch up on this movie. That being said, I will never watch this movie again, happily.
Yes.
And end of the discussion. I'm going to pretend the way they act towards part 2 in this movie is how I'm going to act towards part 3. It doesn't fucking exist.
Yes. Exactly. But that's all I got. Movies coming up.
Yes, sir. We got, dude. Are you ready for this?
Give it to me.
Trading Places. As good as it gets. Get Out. And then Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai. We got 4 weeks of bangers, man. It's going to be awesome.
Dig it. Well, that's awesome. I can't wait. So with that said, for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1989's The Karate Kid, Part 3.